What is the absolute dumbest reason you've ever seen someone who isn't a child freak out? Worked for a cellular company and a woman was in with her parents and they were making her get off their plan. She was non-stop complaining how unfair it was. Parents were matter-of-factly being like, this is happening. Tried to tell them she'd just pay for her portion. Parents calmly replied she'd said that before and hadn't complained that they could afford it. Parents calmly ignored her, whined about how much more it cost for her to have her own plan and stay on this. While she is over loudly whining to her father across the store, I start talking to the mom. She tells me it's not that they cannot afford it or anything like that, but that they are retired and on an okay but fixed income. The daughter was earning 6 figures at her job according to mom. She was also 30. JFC, you just described a cousin I have. She makes bank, but refuses to spend it on anyone but herself. She had a kid, but she refused to buy anything for him, and her husband had to quit his job so he could take care of the baby. Anything the baby needed the husband bought for, and he had to empty his own account for it. She would start arguments whenever she was asked to get something for the baby. Same thing with her parents, she refused to buy a house, so they live together. Any bills she refuses to pay even a portion of. When they divorced, she tried to spin things to make her seem as the good mother, but receipts and records do not lie. She still bitches about being betrayed by her family, but I had to kick her out from my house because she was such a parasite. How did she manage to get a high-paying job, and in what field? I would have hoped anywhere with decent salaries would weed out people like that early on. Oh dear. No, the highest paying jobs are the ones that look for sociopaths and selfish people specifically. Places that pay big salaries are specifically looking for people with that attitude in many cases. A lady came to eat at a diner I worked at and had an absolute meltdown because her toast was overdone. We gave her new toast minutes after she complained the first time, and she spent the rest of her time there throwing a full tantrum over it. Instead of signing her check, she wrote "you suck" but in big letters on the bottom. I always say, someday I hope I have so few problems that I can spend a full hour and a half raging over toast. I once had a customer eat half their slice of cake and then return it simply because they didn't like it. They then had a full tantrum because the complimentary banana bread we gave them instead took too long, and they wanted a refund for the banana bread, which was free, and they had eaten already. Why do people get shit comped? Because they do not like it. You made the wrong choice. Bad luck. I get it though. You want returning customers, so you want them to enjoy their meal. However, some people will abuse this too. A grown woman berate an innocent Walgreens employee because they were out of Hillshire Farms baskets and she needed them. The holidays are not fun for retail workers. Watched a woman do this at World Market because she wanted a lamp, but wanted it in a color they didn't carry. Freaked out on the poor sales associate because she was having a holiday party and the lamps in her living room needed to match. She then picked up the floor model and shattered it on the ground and then refused to pay for it. Yep, because she knew people blah blah blah. Once had a 30-year-old woman throw a screaming tantrum with tears and threatened to sue my company because we had been out of Farmville gift cards for weeks and her crops or animals would die or something. I used to work in gaming, and the thing's grown, but adults complain about is so ducking depressing. Like a fully grown person was losing their minds because they thought the GMs were deliberately keeping her from getting a pony from a loot box. First, we had no control over that. Second, even if we did, we didn't have enough time in our day to deliberately duck with a single player. Third, even if we did have time, we would have probably picked one of the players who was already on our shit list for scamming other players. She got so mad and was so convinced that she got lawyers involved. It was absurd. The worst things the kids would do is really awkward descriptions of making out with each other. Involved a lot of licking six packs. I mean, yeah. No grown adult should be that upset over a video game. Really, not a dispute there. But loot boxes are basically gambling by a different name. And they appeal to and prey on the same sorts of people with the same sorts of impulse control issues, all emerging research points in this direction. And many countries are looking to legislate them as gambling, either by changing their existing gambling laws or writing new ones. And I must say, as an adult gamer, If a game has loot boxes, I simply do not play it. I did rather give a company 20 for a single in-game cosmetic that I can choose and own forever, rather than spin a slot machine 100 times at 1.3 a pop just to be told sorry, the item you wanted didn't drop. Done it. And I'm 1000 certain someone is going to respond with the age-old "it's not gambling 11 argument. But frankly, I do not care if it meets whatever the current legal definition of gambling is. I just do not. It preys on all the same impulses, with all of the same tricks slot machines do, to encourage people to gamble for the items they want, rather than just issuing a straightforward transaction. These companies literally hire the same people who design slot machines to help create their loot box systems. Except, in gambling, its regulated odds are set and checked by law. Gaming, the company can swap a few 1s and 0s and the drop rate changes overnight. There's even no guarantee the odds would not change moment to moment. Loot box to loot box. They may profile people based on their spending habits and use internal datasets to make profiles for players, then manipulate the drop rates to get you to buy the maximum number of loot boxes for your profile type. Even if they do not, they could, and there would be no way to tell, no way to audit, and we basically have to take their word that they're not loading the dice against us behind the scenes, because none of this gambling is regulated. Our gambling laws have not kept up with the modern era, and hearing stories like this just makes my blood boil, because she is probably a whale who has spent hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on this game and still does not have the item she wanted. Poor impulse control. Absolutely. But these games are designed to attract and catch these sorts of players, to take advantage of them, and it simply should not be allowed. I completely agree, and I've had words with my boy about this kind of thing. Tangential, but related. When we were on holiday on a Greek island in 2019, remember going on holiday, there was a stall which had these massive but opaque gift bags, each with different popular characters on. My son picked on with Ninjago characters on it. My daughter a Frozen one or some shit. He was so disappointed when he opened the bag. No Lego. Just shit toys. In some cases broken. Aimed at kids much younger than him. He was only 7 at the time. We had to get him something else as compensation. I always refer to that episode in relation to loot boxes. You do not know what's inside and you rebound to be disappointed. I made a 3-point turn, and part of my wheel touched her driveway. This is private property. Get out of my driveway. I missed a turn and had to 3-point in a random side street. Person runs out with a ducking baseball bat screaming that they've called the cops on me. The duck is wrong with people. Meth. Our city does a free lunch program during the summer. They lines give a school style lunch to any kid under the age of 18. If you go to the designated location during COVID, they converted the program to be grab and go. Technically you were only supposed to get 1 meal per kid in the car, but usually they were pretty lax about it. I happened to pull up just after a man asked for 20 lunches. He had no children in his car. The woman who was handing out the lunches told him that she could only hand out 1 meal per child, and he had none. He then proceeded to berate her and threatened to shoot her, which in my city is very plausible. Yeah, got money for bullets. Yeah, got money for apples and a PBJ Methodica. My friend S boss, a VP, freaked out over the colors on the slides for his presentation. Now you have to know, he picked the colors and the graphics department told him the combo wasn't a good choice, but he insisted, so they made them up his way. Then when he saw them projected, this was in the olden days, when presentation were projected onto screens, he freaked out. I know all about this, since I had a front row seat to the festivities, because he called my friend while we were out to dinner. My friend then had to interrupt our evening to get a rush order of different colored slides made up that night and flown out to his boss. Also, another good friend was head of the graphics dept, so I got to hear what the VP said to them, both when he originally ordered the slides and when he got them. You people are artists. You should have known better than this. Got what in a hole. Back at my last job, one day my boss told the sales team to quickly get some slides done for a presentation to customers. Come next day he blasted the duck out of them because he disliked everything. The color, the details, the pictures. things he is supposed to mention to them the previous day. For 2 hours he blasted them all kinds of demeaning shit and throwing a man-child tantrum. Best part is, we have always been shouted and screamed at over everything, but this is the stupidest reason I've seen that he threw a tantrum for. My company functions via fear. The boss will say he wants a mobile app by the end of the week, and when we cannot get it out in time, obviously we will definitely be getting ducked to the ground. Your friend's boss is a man-child too far up his butt. I do not understand how assholes like this end up in management positions. Such a terrible leadership style. You're basically perpetually shitting all over morale. I too have worked for bosses like this. Constantly demand something that is impossible, with the mentality that if you demand too much you lines get as much as you can. Nah man. Nobody is aiming for the moon. You're just stressing the duck out of your team and making them more dysfunctional than if you were reasonable. Nobody feels there is a reward reason for hard work, because no matter how hard anyone works they are always treated as though they've failed. Sometimes they know somebody. Sometimes they were actually good at their old jobs and got promoted out of their competency. I worked in retail for a while, so this was a common occurrence. The best example was one day a man came into our store, a popular eyeglass store, and I helped him try on some glasses. Walked him through lens types. Seemed perfectly nice. Then we get to the paying portion and he demanded I give him a discount. Everything in the store had a fixed price point, and it was very corporate, and we couldn't give discounts. Not me, not the managers, no one. Dude then threw what I can only describe as a tantrum in the store. He was screaming at me so much that everyone in the store stopped what they were doing and watched. It was exactly like telling a child that they can't have an ice cream or something. The kicker was he didn't even have a reason why he thought he should get a discount. Like a senior discount or student discount or something. We didn't have any discounts anyway. He just demanded that he get one. To be fair, glasses frames and lenses are ridiculously overpriced anyway. Agreed. Mine cost upwards of $300 or more. Still not an excuse to throw a tantrum. Why is America so damn expensive? 300 is 22,500 rupee here in India, and you can get a flat screen TV for that price. That too of a good quality. It's like America doesn't want you to live a good life, and that's why charges you so much for healthcare. Worked at GameStop. Guy came in complaining his PS3 didn't work and he wanted a new one covered by the warranty GameStop provided. Well, the warranty he bought was in 2009 when it came out, and being 2017 we could not cover it. He threw a massive fit and left the store. Came back 3 hours later with the PS3 just decimated, screaming, "Look what you did. I shot this with my gun. Because of you threw the console across the store and left. I think he used a shotgun cause there wasn't much left to it. Like it was shredded. Look what you did. I shot it. Logic 100. It's your fault I shot it. Well, damn, warranties don't last forever, do they, huh?" My mom threw a burger back into the drive-thru window at McDonald's because it had pickles on it. She told them no pickles. She was screaming at them, and they threatened to call the cops. I sank so low in my seat. You should have recorded her and shown her how she acted. What a bitch. That's a good way to get struck. Or have a hamburger thrown at you. This exchange I had a few years ago with a customer who was upset that we won't stop the sun and moon aligning for her. Why are you doing a solar eclipse program at noon? Me, because the eclipse is happening at around 12 PM. Why can't you just wait to have the program once kids get out of school so they can be here to see it? Me, well, I cannot control when an eclipse occurs. It's a cosmic event. If we wait until kids are out of school, the eclipse will have been over for several hours. Let me get the number to the director. Like, bitch, how are you mad at me? Well, the sun and moon are the ones making the decision. So you can argue with them if you like. Make sure you stare at them very intently as you do it. I had someone complain to me at the hotel I work at about the lousy weather one day. I commiserated with them until I realized that they wanted me to fix it. I told them we do not have anything to do with the weather. They actually asked who they needed to talk to about it. All I could say was, depending on your belief system, either the weatherman or God. I feel your pain. Worked at a lodge that had weekend family specials, and it was very popular. I cannot count how many times I was shat on because the weather was not to the guests' liking. Why didn't I tell them it was going to rain? It is too hot. It is too cold. The wind is blowing too hard and. But hey, in a hotel or lodge people can complain about the weirdest things. Reception staff lived on premise, and when reception closed one of us were always available should there be an emergency. Had a guy phone me at 3 AM telling me there is no water and he wanted to give the kids a bath. Yes, no water is a problem. I will wake up maintenance, but why in God's name are you giving your kids a bath at 3 AM? Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.